Members of the Reapportionment Committee, thank you for being here today and thank you for your time. My name is Christina Magana and I am the daughter of migrant farm workers. I am a citizen of Savannah, Georgia and a member of Migrant Equity South East. Migrant Equity South East is an organization that advocates for the rights of immigrant communities in coastal Georgia. As the community outreach coordinator for Migrant Equity South East, I have seen firsthand the inequity and a lack of access to equitable resources for the immigrant community. From going back and forth with the health department to ensure that immigrant neighborhoods have access to clean drinking water and proper plumbing, helping immigrant parents navigate educational resources for distance learning during COVID, and witnessing the institutional barriers when immigrant families attempt to access medical and community resources. No one should deal with a lack of the most basic resources simply because of a language barrier. The immigrant communities of South Georgia have contributed to much of the success and growth of Georgia, yet their voices have been long excluded from our political system. In order for the immigrant community to advocate for structural change, we need to have voting districts that are fairly drawn. As you engage in the redistricting process, we ask that there be transparency and an opportunity for public input, as well as adequate time to ensure that there is enough time for the community to give public comment. We thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Magana. Divine, is it Divine?
Oh, it's Devin.
Devin McGrath, and then we have Daniela Rodriguez, and then Jay Jones.
Thank you to the Reapportionment Committee for your time. My name is Devin McGrath. I'm a resident of Savannah, Georgia, and I'm speaking behalf as part of Migrant Equity South East, along with Christina, as well as part of a generation of Georgians who are now growing up and becoming adults and understand the impact that the decisions made by this committee will have on our future. Children across our states whose futures have and will be irrevocably affected by disinterested and politically motivated decisions of state legislators to underfund education, physical and mental health care, housing, and the other most basic needs of our community, while grossly overfunding the criminalization, surveillance, and over-policing of our communities. Georgia has one of the largest carceral systems in the world, allowing private bondsmen, weapons and surveillance manufacturers, and a plethora of other corporate interests to extract exorbitant profits from the suffering of our communities. As demonstrated by HB 286, our state legislature will enshrine over-policing by preventing even a 5% decrease in police budgets. Imagine if we allocated resources so that we could truly make our communities safe and thrive. Ensuring universal housing, healthcare, and university education for Georgians regardless of class, race, and state-imposed citizenship status, instead of all the resources we spend to criminalize and extract wealth and labor from our communities. We only need to look back 50, 60, 70 years to look at the county unit system, which overprivileged and overrepresented certain communities while underrepresenting by extreme amounts other communities until it was struck down in the 60s by the Supreme Court. While the structural issues that have long plagued our communities will not be solved by even the fairest reapportionment process performed by an independent commission that seeks to maximize the political representation of communities who have for centuries been excluded from political power, if the Georgia State Legislature fails to do so, it will stand as a testament to the anti-democratic, extractive, and exclusionary design at the core of our economic and political systems. Our communities are resilient, and we will continue to organize for the change and a better future. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Ms. Daniela Rodriguez, followed by Jay Jones, and then Haley Watkins.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Daniela Rodriguez. I'm the Executive Director of Migrant Equity South East, which is a nonprofit organization that advocates for the rights of immigrants in South Georgia. I'm a resident of Savannah, Georgia, but Brunswick is a special place for me because this is where my family lives, and this is a place where I went to middle school and high school. Today, I would like to talk about my community, the immigrant community of Glynn and Chatham County. I love Brunswick, but I don't think Brunswick loves me back. I grew up in a neighborhood that didn't have street lights, and that every time that it rained, it was impossible to walk because the streets were flooded. I remember telling my mother that it wasn't fair. Even though we were poor, we deserve better living conditions. My mother replied, "Lo siento, hija. I'm sorry, daughter. This is how it is for us because we're not white and we don't live in St. Simon's Island." I also remember my mother struggling to get to work because she didn't have a car, and because unfortunately, Brunswick doesn't have public transportation. Access to public transportation and better living conditions should not be a luxury for communities of color in Brunswick or in Savannah. And while I didn't know better as a child, I know better as an adult. And this is why I'm back. It doesn't have to be like this. We can do something about it. We need better representation. We need representation that cares. We need radical transformations of our electoral system that centers communities of colors and immigrants. Our voting power should not be diluted. I want you to take into consideration the lack of resources that we currently have. Brunswick is very diverse, and its diversity should be seen as something beautiful, not as a threat. As you engage in the redistricting process, I hope my story serves as a reminder that immigrants have a voice. Thank you for your time.